Okay, this is my final book review for the week. Yeah, I've done 4 in one day. Never mind. I really ought to keep on top of it all. The final review is on Sleeper's Castle by Barbara Erskine. My husband picked this up for me on a whim from Tesco's. That's a big supermarket thingy we have over in the UK for US viewers. And he said it kind of looked interesting. It had the historical bit that I'm really into at the moment. It had the time travel bit that I quite like, and it had the mystery bit, which he quite likes. And this is the latest in a long line of books that Barbara Erskine has written, and some people have said it's not one of her best. She's now getting a bit repetitive. It's the first one I've read, and I really liked it. It's part of the time slip genre of books, which is kind of like its own little niche thingy, which effectively means 2 different points in time are connected between 2 different characters, usually either through dreams or some sort of supernatural connection point. And in this one we have a young lady called Andy, short for Miranda, who is trying to get away from her previous life after the death of her partner and the untimely return of partner's ex, who is a vindictive piece of work and makes Andy's life hell. So she ends up retreating away to the Welsh borders, just up the road from Hay, which is the big book festival place that happens 2 weeks in the summer, and stays in a place called Sleeper's Castle. And things start happening there that are just a little bit odd. Andy starts having dreams, very vivid dreams, of her old place back in London, which then leads into a whole pile of problems. And Katrine, a young girl from the 1400s, and her life in the uprising of the Welsh prince Owain. I know nothing about this point in history, so it's all new to me. Apparently it's referenced in Shakespeare's Henry the IV, Fifth, one of them, which I did study, but obviously it never registered. It is like 1 paragraph. And so this was all quite new history to me. And I did like the way the tale unravelled. The fact that Andy can only experience Katrine's story when she falls asleep. And then things progress and it gets more interesting and more scary for Andy as the traveller. And we find out a lot more about that time period along the Welsh border, how alliances shifted really quickly. If you were Welsh or you were English and you basically wanted to keep your neck or protect your family. So it's certainly a very muddled point in history, and unfortunately it's also one of those points in history that's been rewritten by the Tudors, because once again the good old Tudor family line want to make out that they are the rightful kings, and they want to completely write history so they're seen as the heroes, and yes, we have God on our side and right and everything. And unfortunately anybody who ever stands up to the Tudors, their history's been completely rewritten. The Welsh fighters in this point in history are described as barbarians, and Barbara Erskine does a really good job actually of digging a little bit deeper behind the told history and giving us a history that's probably more accurate and more realistic than the one that we are led to believe so frequently often by the Tudor scholars, which obviously has been carried on passed down the line, because that's history that we're going to keep. History is only ever written by the winners, as any loser will know. So yeah, I did like Sleeper's Castle. I enjoyed Katrine. I thought she was a very interesting character. I kind of believed that she was this woman from the 1400s and trapped in her life and held by the structures of society at that point because she's a girl. I thought her father was a complete and utter nasty piece of work. I did use slightly stronger words while reading some of his passages, and as the story progresses, I'm not kidding, I really just wanted to reach back and thump that man quite a lot because he was vile to Katrine, for very little reason, but it's a reason that's very justifiable in the story. Secondary characters, Edmund and Brian, are really, really good. One from the 1400s, one from the current time period. And they're very supportive, very decent guys, and they have a very good role to play in the story. Andy, I kind of felt was a bit wet. I wanted her to get her act together, to go and confront Rona. That's her partner's ex. I thought her partner, although deceased at this point, and we never actually got to know him, we only knew him through Andy's memories, I thought actually he was a bit of a git, to be honest, and I wasn't sure why Andy had stuck with him for so long. There was nothing really in her memories that kind of inspired me to say, yeah, actually, you know, she is grieving for a decent guy. And it's like, no, he's not a decent guy. But there we go. But yeah, I wanted Andy to stand up and take control of her life, and for a long time in this novel she wasn't doing that. Now, I've never lost anyone, so I have no idea how people's worlds fall apart. So this might be a very accurate reflection of how it feels to have your whole world torn apart and the rug pulled out from under your feet and everything you know completely thrown. It might be this is a natural reaction, but for me, reading the book, I just really wanted to shake her and say, come on, let's get going, let's sort yourself out. And it just bugged me that she kept dwelling on the past for quite a considerable length of time and wouldn't do anything to sort out her current situation. It's like, no, it doesn't matter, I can't be bothered, I'm not fighting for it. No, it just, her whole attitude was, no, I'm not doing it. And when things actually get quite serious later on in the book, she flatly refuses to go and see the police, and it's like, come on, you know, this is going to get out of hand really quick. You know it's going to get out of hand really, really quick. You need to get some help. You need to get yourself involved with the police here, because it's that situation. So I'm quite grateful for the supporting guys in her life, because they kind of say, yeah, that's okay, she doesn't want to report it, but we need to do something because we're involved now as well. So I did enjoy Sleeper's Castle. I would probably pick up some more Barbara Erskine stories, but I will particularly look for ones that are more historically based rather than modern history. I know she's done a few set in the Second World War era, and I kind of like the more distant past rather than the recent past. It just intrigues me more. I think the recent past is a bit too recent still. So there we are. So yeah, so if you like mystery, time travel, ghost stories, historical, strong females, decent written men, then you'll probably like Sleeper's Castle. You'll probably find it enjoyable. I would say if you've read other Barbara Erskine books, you'll know exactly what to expect from this. From what I can gather, this is probably not one of her strongest ones. Rona, the ex-partner, wife, she's a little bit stereotypical, and I'm not quite sure about some of her character development, so that was kind of a bit of a letdown. But yeah, she's okay. But that does seem to be the general consensus from those who've read other books by Barbara Erskine, that the character development and the character motivation is a little bit thin in this book. But I enjoyed it. But like I say, it's my first one of hers I've read. So yeah, give it a go. You might find you like time slip stories. Certainly I will keep an eye out for other types like this and see what they are like. Thank you very much for watching. Happy reading, everyone. Bye.